Forgot I was meant to put those two videos together, but that's fine. We're going to do the next one now. So lesson 4, how important was James Simpson to the development of surgery? So when we think about Simpson, we think S for Simpson, S for sleep. Now, when you have surgery, you typically are put under, or so what that means is you're not going to be awake, and we're going to come to that in a second. So when we think about the big problems affecting surgery, we think pain, infection, and blood loss. Okay, so we know that people still need to think about, well, how do they deal with people's pain? How do we deal with infection? Because that's one of our simple criteria we just haven't been able to really tick off yet. And how do we deal with blood loss? So what we're looking at today is how important was James Simpson to the development of surgery. Like I said, when you think about Simpson, you think about when you see James Simpson, you remember sleep. And when you think about surgery, typically when you have surgery, you are put under an anaesthetic, okay? Now, an anaesthetic, it can be a local one or a general one, okay? So if you are put under surgery, so this is right now, if you were to have surgery, a general anaesthetic would put you to sleep, so that surgeons can complete operation. A local one would numb an area, so it's like having your tooth taken out. It'll just numb the area to really stop you being in that pain. So that's that. That's what we need to really remember. So he is someone who develops an effect, or discovers anyway, let's put discovers, an effective anaesthetic. That is why he's so significant. So when we're thinking about his role, he's significant because he discovers an effective anaesthetic. So first thing that you have to do when you come to this lesson here, very, very easy lesson, is you need to summarize the problems that surgeons face dealing with pain over the years using the boxes below. And I want you to just think about, what were the issues with what they were using before? So in this one, Middle Ages, people have used herbs such as mandrake and hemlock to relieve pain. However, these plants could kill if too much was used. What's the problem with that anaesthetic, mandrake and hemlock? So in these boxes here, I want you to identify what the anaesthetic's name is and tell me what's the problem. The next one, identify the anaesthetic's name, and then identify the problem. And then do the same thing for the last one. So you need to know what's the story so far and why are they not effective. The next section, what I want you to do is read through this information here and tell me what's the actual problem. So reading this kind of sort of like anecdotes type of story, why is it so important that a surgeon has a patient who is, still? Why is that such a big deal? What can be the impact if a patient is moving around, lashing, his arms and legs, screaming while there's surgery taking place? Why would you not want to be awake if someone was cutting into you, type thing, okay? And I want you to write that here. For this last bit, it's just kind of using a bit of common sense and hypothesizing what is the order. And I just want you to number them 1 to 6. What's the order? So I'll start you off. It's in 1847, James Simpson. That's number 1. Then I want you to read through the rest and think, well, what would make sense? So the next one might be, he's a professor of midwifery. That's number 2. Read the next ones to figure out how did he actually develop his discovery of it. Oops. Okay. After you've done that, so just to kind of give you a source here, this is just kind of explaining, he literally just was experimenting with friends, and they were able to discover that chloroform knocked them out. Therefore, it was an effective anaesthetic. It completely knocked them out. Now, what you have to do next is you need to read through the information sheet on the next page. So over here on page 14, I want you to read through this, and I want you to think about using this sheet here. So the positives are actually already done for you. So it tells you what is the positive of an effective anaesthetic. Number one being that it was effective. Highlight to me why is it so effective. Tell me why is it so important that you just have to highlight it. What you then have to do is read this sheet here to find out the negatives. So it's already done in 3 categories for you. The use of chloroform was opposed. By whom? Read through it. Tell me who opposed it. So you've got one here, another one here, another one here. Read through it and just summarise why people opposed it. Tell me why people thought it was dangerous, and tell me some examples of how it led to an increased of death rates. So you're just reading that information and then summarising. There is a challenge, so I'll put it back on the slide. If you finish, you can examples provide evidence of short-term impacts and which show evidence of the longer-term impact of Simpson's contribution. So if you want to do a challenge, you can think about how has he fit in our valid criteria. After you finish that, you need to read through the steps and then fill in the gaps and then write in the however box about why was he not so important to the development surgery, because he was, but what can you pick out? Remember, it's all about evaluating each person, finding other examples of reasons why he's not effective, and obviously you'd be using this information that you've put here for that. Okay, thank you.